This is KVUE News Daybreak.
Cracking down on sanctuary cities, the bill that's now threatening to throw county sheriffs behind bars if they don't cooperate with the feds.
U.S. leaders are saying our relationship with Russia is at an all-time low. I'm ABC's Maggie Rulli, and we'll have the latest developments coming up.
And getting even more tourists to come to Austin, the plan for the convention center that could bring in more visitors, and who will pay for it. Good morning, and thank you for watching KVUE News Daybreak at 4:30. I'm Yvonne Nava. Well, let's get a look at what we're tracking today with Storm Team meteorologist Erica Lopez. Good morning, Erica.
Good morning, Yvonne. Another quiet start to our morning if you're heading out the door. Another mostly cloudy morning in store. Temperatures in the 60s. Dew points, it is sticky out there. We're in the mid 60s right now. Temperatures across the viewing area, because of all the cloud coverage, it didn't allow us to cool down very much. So a lot of folks stayed in the upper 60s for their overnight lows. Coolest spots right now, the Hill Country, Mason at 62. This is what we're tracking hour by hour for our Thursday. Notice we're keeping in a 30% chance of rain shower activity. I think the best chance will be early on in the day for any of that scattered shower activity, and the Hill Country is my main concern just for this morning. We're not talking widespread heavy shower event, but again, just isolated showers are expected. Daytime high temperatures will be close to 80 degrees for your afternoon today. Yvonne, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. 4:31 is your time. The city of Austin is cracking down on the synthetic drug K2. Today's city council will consider a resolution that will allow additional funding for police and public awareness about K2. Yesterday, APD and the DEA seized 87 bags of the drug from an apartment in South Austin. That's about 2,600 doses. 2 men inside the apartment were arrested and are suspected of distributing K2. They are now out on bond. A man who has been charged with killing an Austin defense attorney is behind bars this morning in New Orleans, and that's where police found 24-year-old Justin Twine. Officials say he stabbed James Short to death in his home on Friday after Short had taken him shopping at a nearby Walmart. Security cameras inside the store showed the two of them together. Investigators are still trying to learn more about how they knew one another. But cell phone records show they exchanged text messages and that Short gave Twine his address. Twine will soon be extradited back here to Austin to face charges. Well, the man who investigators say threw rocks at cars and drivers on I-35 dozens of times for nearly 2 years will be in court today. Pat Johnson is facing multiple counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. His trial is scheduled for June of this year, and today appears to be a preliminary hearing. Austin police say Johnson is behind most of the 90 rock throwing incidents that began back in 2014. Johnson is already serving time for an unrelated sex assault charge. A bill to ban so-called sanctuary cities will head to the full House for a vote, but the version going to the House is slightly different than what passed out of the Senate. Senate Bill 4 will require all law enforcement agencies to honor ICE detainers. Those are requests to hold a person in custody while their immigration status is investigated. The original bill allows officers to ask anyone about their immigration status if they were detained, which includes being pulled over for a traffic violation. The House version only allows officers to ask about status once someone is arrested. One representative says the bill does more harm than good.
I don't know that this bill is anything but kind of a political ploy. It doesn't help local law enforcement, doesn't make us any safer, and candidly, it forces us to release from our jails more violent offenders who may be homegrown and have to keep nonviolent, undocumented people in jail.
Police officers from across the state, including Austin's chief, have told lawmakers the bill will hurt their community policing efforts. No word yet on when the House will take a vote. Tensions between the U.S. and Russia continue to escalate even after Secretary of State Rex Tillerson met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow yesterday. President Trump now saying relations with Russia may be at an all-time low. Maggie Rulli has more.
Right now, we're not getting along with Russia at all.
The current state of U.S.-Russia relations is at a low point.
A grim view of U.S.-Russian relations from the president and America's top diplomat. Both men once called Russian President Vladimir Putin a friend, but now those hopes of a fresh start have come crashing down. The U.S. missile strike on Syria, triggering a crisis with Russia, a loyal ally of the Syrian government of Bashar al-Assad. The strike, a response to the Assad regime's use of chemical weapons on his own people. That chemical weapon stockpile came from an airbase where there were also Russians.
I would like to think that they didn't know, but certainly they could have. They were there, so we'll find out.
Questions of how much Russia knew coming as Secretary Tillerson holds a tense 2-hour closed-door meeting with Putin, saying afterwards the two share a desire for a unified and stable Syria. But he then angered Russia by bluntly calling for a regime change.
Our view is that the reign of the Assad family is coming to an end.
This tension only adding to a strained relationship. After U.S. intelligence concluded Russia meddled in last year's presidential election, something Russia continues to deny.
The world's two foremost nuclear powers cannot have this kind of relationship.
U.S.-Russia relations were also tense at the UN after Russia voted to block a resolution that would have condemned the Assad regime's use of chemical weapons. This was Russia's 8th time voting against condemning Assad. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, Washington.
4:36 is your time, and Austin city leaders think it's time for the convention center to get another update to ensure the city doesn't miss out on potentially big tourist draws. So here's a look at what it could look like years from now. Very nice. A little over 447,000 square feet of exhibition space, plus more meeting and ballroom space. A member of a coalition that supports the expansion says the lack of space and availability is causing the city to lose money and future conventions.
The whole world is going to Las Vegas. That's a pretty big one to lose. And other ones are going to San Antonio, Dallas, Houston. You know, when we think about the convention world, we kind of think, conventions, yeah, well, boring, you know. But when these people go back home and go back to their places of business, they are talking about Austin.
If the expansion is approved, council members will vote on who will pay for it, the voters or the city. With either option, we're told there will be any increases to local property taxes. There will not be any increases to local property taxes. A Taylor church is filled with raw sewage and no one is taking responsibility. The church was flooded with raw sewage almost 2 months ago after a city sewer pipe overflowed in February. Then city workers made it worse when trying to fix the problem by accidentally pumping in more sewage. Well, the problem now, neither the building's owner nor the city is taking responsibility.
We've lost everything due to the nature of the water. It wasn't just brown water, it was raw sewage. The claims adjuster has not come back with anything yet. I've talked to him weekly and I don't know what the holdup is, but here we are in April. We haven't been able to have services at all and still don't have an answer on the claim.
The church lost about $15,000 to $20,000 worth of equipment. A sewage cleanup service tells KVUE it could cost between $30,000 and $70,000 to clean the building properly. Time now to take a look at our weather with Erica Lopez.
Hello, good morning. Yeah, a busy weather pattern we have been in, but things are starting to quiet down. I think the only issue is a lot of low-level moisture due to a southeasterly flow bringing in the humidity and also the cloud coverage. That's going to stick around this Thursday. Notice our friends across the Panhandle, also into western Texas. They have a lot of rain they're tracking. The good news is that we're not expecting too much of that to enter into our region. Here's a look at your current temperatures right now. 64 in Mason, 66 in Kingsland. Central County is in the upper 60s. Dripping Springs, the coolest at 64, and Bastrop a couple degrees warmer than that at 66. So here's what we're expecting. 30% chance of some scattered showers. I think our best chance will be across the hill country, again closer to the disturbance that's given western Texas some rain, but they'll be very scattered and on the lighter side. We're not expecting anything severe or heavy with this. Overnight tonight, still keeping in a 20% chance of an isolated shower. Plenty of cloud coverage throughout our entire day, and overnight lows will be in the 60s. So I have your Easter forecast. I know it's an important weekend headed our way. I'll chat about that in the full forecast. Yvonne, back to you.
All right, got the whole family coming into town. I hope it's good. Thank you, Erica. 4:39 is your time. Remember, the Alamo may take on a whole new meaning soon. There is a new plan to renovate and expand the historic piece of San Antonio property. Officials are considering closing off streets opposite of the site and moving the shops across the street to make room for a museum. But the thing that has people talking is the city's plan to move a memorial out front that has the names of those who fought in the battle.
We've all lived with the cenotaph and we all love it. I hate to see it moved or destroyed.
They need to show respect to those grounds, just not the front of the church, but all the grounds around the Alamo.
The Alamo Master Plan is a $200 to $300 million project. The city says it will be finished sometime in the next decade. And a painting at a local middle school is causing a lot of controversy this morning. Why this image is raising some concerns of what school officials are doing about it now. Plus, the United Airlines CEO apologizing after massive backlash from across the world. His promises for future passengers.